and welcome to Insight Indonesia, brought to you by the Jakarta Globe. I'm your host, Lynn Neumann. Today I'm with a man who has been called a miracle worker for what he accomplished in Aceh, and also someone who perhaps, for all that good work, has been given an impossible task of reforming, controlling, and monitoring the government and development. Of course, I'm talking about Kuntoro Mangkusubroto. Pak Kuntoro, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome, Lynn. You're exaggerating, actually.
Well, the group you head now, the Presidential Work Unit, overseeing and controlling development, or UKP-4, has a very broad mandate. But you came into this job after Aceh. Why don't we start by looking back a little bit on Aceh and where you think, how you feel about the job there, looked back now several years?
Well, I feel great now with the latest development in Aceh, aside the political things. Okay, so
politics is always tough.
Politics always politics. Okay. But when it comes to economic development, welfare of the people, then I can say that well, I'm pretty satisfied with what's happening there. Okay, economy is growing. The school children are back to the schools. Okay.
Things a lot of it has been rebuilt, which is
yeah. Man, we just use the measure to measure the Millennium Development Goals. Okay, a number of indicators. Okay, so things are really improving compared to 7 years ago. So I'm pretty good when it comes to Aceh.
Let's talk about the current job. We just went through a very painful week last week with the government trying to push through a fuel price increase. The money saved by cutting the subsidy was intended to go for infrastructure, which is certainly part of your mandate to clear out roadblocks on infrastructure. How do you look at the, I hesitate to say shenanigans, but how do you look at the fact that we couldn't get the fuel price raised yet, and what impact does this have on infrastructure development?
Well, there's always a trade-off. Indonesia economy is basically part of the global economy. So if there's a crude price increase, then we have to adjust as well domestically. And otherwise, we have to subsidize this. Okay? And as you mentioned, that this will affect the development in the infrastructure sector. The very immediate impact of this is not too significant because we still have the funds. Okay, but when it comes to late this year or next year, then if there's no adjustment, then there will be a real serious impact toward the infrastructure development. There are two avenues that we can implement. The first one is to make adjustment, or we change a bit our development strategy when it comes to infrastructure in terms of giving more relaxed atmosphere for the investment in infrastructure, giving more fiscal facilities, okay, and by doing that, actually, you can attract more money from the non-government budget to be spent in the infrastructure.
How would you evaluate where the government is at in implementing a number of major infrastructure projects? I know that there are things happening with ports. There are great needs for airports. We've talked about mass rail transit in Jakarta that's yet to get underway, although I know there's funding for the study of it, and several other big ticket items. Where do things stand?
Well, I cannot generalize. I'm pretty happy when it comes to a number of infrastructure projects.
What are the projects that you think are going in the right direction then?
Well, I can say that when it comes to a number of power plants that's been stalled for some months before, now it's progressing well. I can say that I'm pretty okay with that. Okay, but when it comes to geothermal, then things are really still slow. Okay, the problem with this economy is basically, or the system here, is basically on the land acquisition. So if you have infrastructure project which require lot of or huge area of land ownership transfer, then usually you face this kind of problem.
We now have a land acquisition law, the new law that was passed last year. Hasn't been implemented yet, but is it going to make a difference?
Oh yeah. There will be a big difference there. You can see now some progress already there, okay? But we are still waiting for a number of implementing regulation after that bill has been approved last year. Well, a bill is a bill, but when it comes to implementation, you
There's
need
always
other.
this two-stage
It's
process,
always like
yeah.
that, okay? The law itself and the implementation regulations. So these are the things that we are preparing now.
And are you also working, is your office also monitoring what's happening with infrastructure in Jakarta?
Yes, basically yes. We started a program headed by the Vice President some one and a half years ago, and we came up with 17 action plan, not to solve the total thing of the Jakarta traffic, but at least a number of corridors. I can say that small progresses has been achieved, but knowing that the real problem of Jakarta is so huge, okay, you don't feel that marginal improvement. I can say that the number of corridor in the busway has been added. A number of park and ride facilities has been finished, and a number of supporting facilities. You have to go to the Bumi Serpong Damai railway station, okay, then you'll be surprised that you can have this kind of railway station here in Indonesia. Okay, so
I'll have to go out there and see it.
Yeah, you go there.
I'm going to have to stop right now to take a break. We're with Kuntoro Mangkusubroto. We're talking about infrastructure. You're watching Inside Indonesia, brought to you by the Jakarta Globe. Stay with us.